Hey, this is Nate Jaxn. Hey, if you are interested in exactly what it takes to, in the way of mindset, to change your entire game and ultimately change your entire world, stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. This is Nate Jaxn. Hey, I want to thank you for being a part of Mojo Mondays. As promised, we're going to walk into a different element of this game. It's not just tactics or tools or tips or even software or what it takes to become successful. I am convinced 100% that for every person that's ever achieved any greatness at any level, personal or otherwise, in business or in making money or being a success in their own life, it comes from mindset, right? It comes from heart set and mindset. And the two are oftentimes tied together. So that's what we're going to talk about today, real briefly. I'm not going to take a long time, but I want you to get a hold of this. I want to introduce you to somebody that has played a special role in my mindset. From way back, I was hearing about this guy for a long time, but I want to be able to introduce you to him. So welcome, if you're just brand new joining us, welcome to episode 3 of Mojo Mondays. And I think you're going to enjoy this. It's going to be short, it's going to be crisp and to the point, but I think you're going to get the idea. This is an essential element of your game, right? If you're going to be a success at any level, at anything, your mindset, your heart set is critical, right? It has to be on point. And it doesn't mean that you've got to do anything perfectly. It means that your mindset and your heart set has to be aligned, and you have to realize that there's a whole lot of force out there against you, and you have to be able to push past all of that, right? So we're going to do a case study. We're going to share a case study with you that's old, but man, it is so relevant and it is so right now, right? So I think you're going to enjoy it. So Mojo Monday, episode 3, mindset matters most, right? Mindset matters most. That's the element of the whole theme of this particular Mojo Monday, right? It's not just, hey, say positive things, read positive books. Those are all good things, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the thing that holds you back and holds me back. The things that hold people back in general are oftentimes things that we could push past. We have the ability, it's within us. We just don't. And the reason we don't typically is because of our mindset. It's what happens between our ears, right? It's one of those things that is hard to explain. Science tries, but they do a poor job because, and I'm going to explain why here in just a minute and give you an example. But mindset matters. If your mindset, if your heart set is bent on doing something, and you push forward regardless of what anybody else says, man, time after time after time, people accomplish those things no matter. It's like it doesn't matter what stands in the way, the giants fall, right? That's a fact. All based on mindset. So let me introduce you to somebody, Roger Bannister, right? Some of you know the story, some of you don't. Regardless, I'm telling you, this is worth repeating if you've already heard the story. Roger Bannister was a young man born in England in 1929, so it's been a long time ago, right? I want to introduce you to this young man because he was an extraordinary case study for us, because there was nothing on the surface when his name enters the collegiate level, the collegiate age group. He's a sharp young man. He's academic. His academics are strong, but he's not exceptional, and he loves athletics. He loves running. He's pretty quick and done well in high school, but he's not exceptional. He's not exceptional at anything. There's nothing about Roger at this point entering college, other than the fact that he was sharp as an academic. Nothing about him would suggest that he was going to change the world at all, okay? Roger Bannister. So here's a picture of him as a young man. Again, he loved to run. He loved track and field, but he would be the first to tell you, as he was entering Oxford, he'd be the first to tell you that his primary focus was absolutely his academics, because there was no future in the athletic side of what he was doing, because he wasn't that talented, right? He was fast, but he wasn't that talented. So that's Roger Bannister, and this is a picture of him that's been added color, right? They didn't have it back in that day. So Roger, here's the story, right? Roger's running his favorite race as a high school athlete was the mile, right? The 1 mile for speed, right? A sprint. And the 1 mile, what he faced, even though he was very fast as a high school athlete and even fast as a collegiate athlete, when his coach at Oxford got wind of the fact that he could stay inside of the 4.5 minute mile, he was pretty excited, because that's pretty fast, right? No matter what. And here's what they knew. So here's what they were excited about. They thought Roger had a shot. I think his best personal time ever was like 4.29, 4 minutes, 29 seconds and some change in the mile. And what they knew was that was extraordinarily fast for the average person, for anybody. And here's what they knew. They knew that it was really the only thing that was at scale here was what was between 4 minutes and Roger, right? And here's why. Because everybody, including all of his instructors and all of his coaches and everybody in the encyclopedias at that point, everything that anybody knew about mankind, no human being had ever run faster than a 4-minute mile. Never. Not in the history of recording all the way back to Athens. Nothing had ever succeeded. Nothing had ever broken that barrier of a 4-minute mile. And literally, it was in the school books, in the academics. It was physically impossible. Science said mankind cannot run faster in a mile than the 4 minutes, right? It's always going to be 4 minutes and some change at the very, very fastest. And they were hoping to get as close to that 4-minute mile as they could, but everyone knew that it was just physically impossible to break the 4-minute mile, period, right? Now here's what's interesting about this. No one in history, I say again, no one in history had ever done this, right? Ever. I want to show you a picture. This is Roger Bannister running not on an extraordinarily 21st century, track. Everybody was saying even to get close, even scientists back then would say to even get close to 4 minutes, which nobody had hit 4 minutes. But if you even get within 10 or 15 seconds of 4 minutes, it would take extraordinary circumstances in a perfect case, perfect storm, literally perfect track, all dry, no wind resistance, no anything. This day for Roger Bannister, this day was poorer weather to the point that they almost canceled this track meet at Oxford. Roger runs this, right? He's again very fast, but nowhere near record breaking, right? He's very fast, and he runs this race, and he's not even in the lead going into the last turn of his mile race, right? He's not even in the lead. Something clicks for Roger and he turns it on, right? And what he ends up doing is he ends up winning the race, and he doesn't just win the race. At this point, he wins the race and his time is less than 4 minutes. It's 3 minutes, 59 seconds and some change, right? It is incredible. Humankind, the record, not just a human record, the record of all time, of everyone that's ever been clocked running the mile, has been shattered. They said it couldn't be done. They said it absolutely couldn't be done, and he did it. And this is him literally crossing the line with people just blown away when they called out to the crowd to what his time was. His official time was insane. This is Roger Bannister as an old man on that same field, obviously changed many, many years later, and he's since passed. I believe he passed in '88. But here's what I want you to understand. This is the part that's crazy, right? So Roger, mild-mannered Roger Bannister, a name nobody had heard of at that point, and I'm sharing it with you now many, many years, even after he's long gone. He shatters by a fraction of a second a record that science said couldn't be done. No human being could do it. His record that you would think if you finally do it, right, you finally just defy science, you would think for sure that record will stand for 100 years. His record didn't stand for 2 months. In less than a month and a half, his rival that was in that race, that was in the lead until that last turn, his rival literally beats him by almost a full second, right? So he not only, I need you to get a hold of this, they not only were they told by everybody in the whole world, in all of history, that it could not be done. It could not be done. Roger Bannister does that on some cold, blistery day in England, right? And here's what I want you to know. Because I think the kid's name was Landry, right? Because Landry knew and was there and saw Roger do it, within a month and a half, he literally not only does and breaks that 4-minute mile as well, he beats the new record that was just like impossible to do. Now he's done the impossible by breaking the 4-minute mile, and now he's done the doubly impossible, beating Roger Bannister's time. Now here's what I want you to understand. Fast forward 50 years, well over 1,000 people, well over 1,000 have broken the 4-minute mile, right? It's just, so what's changed, right? And that's what you might say. For the longest time, there was nothing ever added. There was no performance enhancing anything. It was just hard work, right? So what changed, right? For 100 years all those years since Athens, and every time anybody would ever potentially gauge or scale how fast somebody was and could time you, what changed? The only thing that changed was that somebody did it, right? Somebody did it. Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. And as a result, Landry, who was on that track that day, knew it could be done. And if it could be done, here it is, he could do it too, right? He works the same hard, he could do it too. And since then, well over 1,000 people have trained hard and have gone into this thing not going, well, I could never beat 4 minutes, let's just see how fast I can go. The issue was, I know it can be done. They did it. If they did it, I can do it, right? That's the mindset. And as a result, thousands of people have succeeded at doing the very same thing. Here's my point, and we'll close with this. It's super important if you're this online journey, right, to create passive income, to do it on the side, to, you know, for so long, people have said to me and to other people, you can't do it. People are probably telling you the same thing. It's foolish. You're taking time you don't have. You're spending money you don't have. You're learning things you don't know. You're not tech savvy. For the longest time, you had to be tech savvy, young, experienced marketer, or already have a bunch of money to start with. Listen, none of that's required, and here's why. Because people just like you and I are doing it right now, right? I could personally introduce you to people that are making 6 figures a year. There's a couple I can introduce you to that are making 6 figures a month, straight up, that verifiable income. And you say, well, man, that's crazy. I don't need that. I don't either. I'm not in it to make 6 figures a month. But I need you to understand, it can be done. It is being done. And listen, if they can do it, if they can fight through the obstacles and break the barriers and do this, and it changed their world and their life and their family forever. Listen, if they can do it, you can do it, right? That's what I want you to get a hold of. If they can do it, you can do it. That's the message. That's Mojo Monday, and I'm glad to share it with you, right? Mindset absolutely matters, right? I know we're all about what are the tools, what are the ways, what are the steps. We're going to cover all that too, but I need you to hear me. Your mindset's got to be tight, right? Your mindset, your heart set, you got to stop listening to people, including yourself, right? Sometimes it's the voice inside our own head. We got to stop listening to the negative, literally put some calm to the chaos, and just lock in what you know, right? Just absolutely lock in what you know. It's super important. It can be, if they can do it, we can do it too. Stop listening to the lies and the voices that are telling you that it cannot be done and what you can and can't do, right? And then start focusing on the truth that you know, that you actually know, you know it's being done, and you know they're doing it, right? And then simply lock the truth in and don't quit till you've proved them all wrong, right? That's it, man. That's the game. That's the whole game in a nutshell right there. That's the secret to this whole thing. Is not about having this special tool or chasing a shiny object or you know, any of that. It's really, it all starts with having a right mindset and a right heart set to say, if they're doing it, it can be done. If they can do it, I can do it, right? It doesn't matter, because across the board, I can tell you, male, female, young, old, it doesn't even matter. And it's been proven. So that's it for today. Man, enjoy that. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, click the subscribe button down below. If you liked anything you've heard or anything that's inspiring you, click the little notification bell off to the side of it. And man, you won't miss a thing. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of another Mojo Monday. And I will see you on the next one. Blessings.